Okay, what is up, everybody? Today we are going to be doing a Valorant all agent tier list. Just ranking all the agents based on how they play, how they fit in with a team, and their abilities and just different stuff like that. So we're just gonna actually jump right into this. Let's start just from the left side. We have Raze over here. Raze, whenever we're doing this tier list, I'm talking about competitive play, not just casual pubs with your friends. Like competitive gameplay whenever it comes out, how it's gonna be like all these characters, how they're gonna fit in with the team, their different abilities, and how they work competitively. And Raze is definitely more of a pub stomper than a competitive team player. Raze, she brings a lot to the table in pubs, as long kind of shutting people down, doing big explosion radius damage with her abilities. But in competitive, she's really just not gonna work. So I'm gonna actually have to put Raze in C tier. I know a lot of people are gonna get upset with this, but she's just not a team player really. She's her own solo person, and the only thing that's dangerous about Raze is her ultimate. Every other ability of Raze can be easily countered. Like her blast packs, they're really useless, honestly. It's only good for getting in places that are not available to other agents and getting over Sage's wall, and that's very situational. While her cluster grenades are good, you can just back up. Unless you're in a corner for some reason, they're really not going to be useful, and even if you are in a corner, you can still get away taking minimal damage. Her boombot, it's used to gain information in pubs because it's very easily destroyed with a few shots, and they gain little to no information. So if you can, kind of see where I'm coming from with that from a competitive standpoint, then she's pretty useless. So let's go on to Omen. Omen is a tricky one because Omen, his abilities, some of them are really good, and some of them just don't do what you need them to do. Like, he has smokes, he can smoke off different areas, he can teleport around the map, like anywhere on the map as his ultimate, which is really good, but it's like, when he's teleporting and it's really loud, and if you shoot him, then he's very vulnerable in that state, and it can be countered easily if you just turn around and you listen for when the ult happens. As far as the rest of the abilities, it's pretty much just like teleporting small distances, which can be useful, but they're still not amazing abilities that would go in, I think, that would classify as A or S tier abilities. It's not C tier. It's definitely Omen is definitely a B tier agent here. So Raze, I think, is the only C tier agent here. Yeah, so Omen can teleport small distances, he can smoke off areas, and pretty much he's a meh character, I would say. So that's why we're putting him in B tier here. Brimstone. While Brimstone, his ultimate can be really good if you play it really well. You can shut down a bomb defuse really easily with it. And you can kill multiple people in an area if you know where they're gonna go. So his ult's really good. His smokes are really useful, really good. I can see them used really well in competitive play. His stim beacon, it's okay. It's nothing too crazy or special. I feel like it's more of a situational ability that, if it's used correctly in a good situation, it can be really detrimental to the other team. But it's really situational, and it doesn't come in handy that much. And his Molotov, his incendiary, it's really good. It's good at shutting off an area, and he's a very well-rounded player, agent, and that's why I'm going to be putting him in A tier. I don't think he brings enough to the table to be bumped up to all the way up to S tier, but he's definitely A tier player, agent. Phoenix. Phoenix is definitely an S tier. is an S tier agent. He's, I would say, the most Counter-Strike-esque of all the characters. He has his flashbangs, which are really useful since they cut around the walls, and most of the time you don't have enough time to react. He can get those picks. He's more of an entry fragger, I'd say. He has flashbangs. He has a Molotov, kind of like Brimstone, except for it's a little smaller, and he has a firewall. The good thing about Phoenix is he's a self-healer. He can heal himself with his Molotov and his firewall and get back up to full HP very easily. And those abilities are good to use like for himself and for his team. They can be really useful to block off different areas and to do mass damage. And his ultimate is really good too. I'd say it's one of the best ults in the game, with the fact that he pretty much gets his second life for a decent amount of time. He can just rush in, either get information or get picks, which is both really useful in competitive play. So that's why he's an S tier player. Jett, some people also might not agree with her placement in B tier. She is more of a solo player. A really good Jett player can be a big detriment to your team, but it's Jett is her abilities, they're just movement abilities, and it's not like Omen where if you teleport you can't, like, you don't see like him moving across. But like if Jett dashes across like a corner, you can see her dash and you know that she's still there. While her ult is really good, her abilities are just movement abilities, and it doesn't counteract the fact her ult doesn't counteract her mediocre movement abilities enough to be bumped up to A tier. And yeah, so that's Jett for you. Viper, she's a tricky one to place in A or B tier. Her ult is really good for bomb planting. Not so much as defusal, because they still know where the bomb is, but bomb planting and like being an attacker on the bomb with her ult is really good and can be really well played. Her poison wall is also really good at shutting out enemies from a location, and so same goes with her poison cloud, but it just takes that poison meter down, and the poison drains pretty quickly, so I'm gonna have to put her in B tier as well. I just feel like she's missing just like one piece of utility that could bump her up to A tier really quickly, but she's just not quite there yet. On full release, if they buff her, or if they nerf her, she could go up to A. I don't think she would be able to go down to C though. So yeah, that's Viper. Cypher in competitive play has to be an S tier. While in pubs, he isn't too great. I'd say in pubs he's still an A tier player. So it's pretty good. But Cypher in competitive situations, he just gets so much information for you, it's ridiculous. His tripwires reveal locations. His spy cams can reveal locations, and he can know where the enemy is before they know where he is. So allowing him to pre-fire corners and stuff. He has his tripwires, his spy cam, and his other thing. My mind is blanking, but it also reveals information. His ultimate, he can reveal like the location of every single enemy player. That's insane. That's so much information. It's pretty much wall hacks. It is wall hacks for a short period of time. It's really good. Yeah, that's why he just gets so much information that he has to be a S tier player for an S tier player agent for competitive play. He just gives you so much information. He can reveal just reveal so much information that it's crazy. Oh yeah, his third ability is Cyber Cage. I forgot about that. It is very useful. That's why he's also an S tier character, because of that ability and all of his abilities together. Well, Cyber Cage doesn't necessarily give you information. It can. It acts as a smoke wall, but it will kind of stun enemies that are inside of it, and there's an audible cue for that, so he also can give information from his cyber wall. So that's why he's an S tier agent in competitive play. Sova. I'm just gonna have to put him in A tier. I know some people won't agree with me on that, but Sova, he's kind of like, he has like a Cypher-esque type of abilities. He can give so much information with his arrows, and his ult is very good at stopping bomb defusals. Just like Viper's ult can stop bomb defusals, Sova's can as well, because it can shoot through walls. Sova's arrows are very, I could see them being very useful for competitive play in the future. He has his wall hack type arrow, which if enemy is in line of sight, with his arrow, then he can see where they are. And his excuse me, his other arrows are very useful as well, such as his his shock bolt. Of course, his explosive bolt that emits the energy upon impact that will do mass damage. And his owl drone is really good because that dart, it is dead accurate. It's hit scan dart, and it can be used really well to reveal a bunch of information. So that's why he is in A tier. I don't think he doesn't bring enough to be S tier like Cypher does, but he's still very good and gives much information to his team, which is really good. Now Breach. Breach, it's hard to place him, because he has his Aftershock, his fusion charge, to have the burst go through the wall, and it will do a lot of damage if you're close to it. As far as his blinding charge, if you hit somebody with that, they need to die. There's no excuse for them not to. It lasts so long, and it's so unexpected that if you know somebody's around a corner, you can kill them if you have the flashpoint. It's a very good ability, as well as the Aftershock. Is Seismic Blast Fault Line. You can increase the distance, and it'll go boom, 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 and you can see, it'll go really far if you want it to, and it's a blast that will daze all like the players in the line of that zone. It's really useful for clearing down a lane. And his ultimate, Rolling Thunder, it can either be a huge bust or it can work really well. It'll knock back people and daze them for a long time. So it's very good. I'm gonna place Breach in A tier, just because of all of his abilities. He's a team player. He plays very well with the team, and his abilities are really good if played right. So yeah, that's why he's A tier. I think he deserves to be A tier. And Sage, last but not least, Sage. She has her healing orb, which can either heal herself in a sticky situation or a teammate. I'm just going to go ahead and put her in S tier because everybody knows she is an S tier player. Yeah, so Sage is 100% an S tier player. Agent. She has her healing orb. She can heal herself or enemies. She has her ice wall, which can block off a lane for so long, and it's detrimental in pistol rounds to block off an entire site, which is huge. And she also has her ultimate, which is Resurrection. She can revive a teammate just on the spot with her ultimate. Yeah, and it's crazy. You can go from a 1v1 to a 2v1, which it's amazing how insane the ability is. I would say that's the most useful ult in the game, because it brings back one of your teammates. It can be a 2v2, you can get the edge up and make it a 3v2. It can do a lot. And I'd say the best ability in the game. And of course she has her slow orb, which is also really good. All of her abilities are insanely good. Her slow orb, she throws it down and it creates a huge ice orb, which is really loud if somebody steps on it. and it slows them down 70% of their movement speed. So it's very useful for also blocking off a lane. And she's a very, very good team player, and she does a lot for the team. So I'd say she is the best agent in the game. Now, if we're gonna rank these based on like the tiers, like so, for, like from the left, like here would Phoenix would be the best. I'm gonna say it goes Sage, Cypher, Phoenix, and S tier, meaning Sage is the best player in the game. Then it'd go, let's say, Breach, Sova, Brimstone. Then, let's say, Viper, Omen, then Jett, and then Raze down in C tier. That's gonna be it for the video. This is my own opinion. Of course, everybody has their different opinions. But this is just my tier list as far as Valorant goes and all the agents. I will probably do another tier list on full release, doing the agents, and I might do one of the maps. Let me know if you guys want something like that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning into the video on my Valorant agent tier list. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.